Hi everyone, my name's Laura and I'm the Carpe Diem Stitcher. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. So in today's video I'm going to show you some of my cozy top makes. So I'm going to do a bit of a countdown from the one I like the least to my hero pattern, if you like. And a bit of a comparison for you, because I put a poll up on my community tab a little while ago and you said that you'd be interested in pattern comparisons and also, you know, pattern reviews. So I thought that I would do this. If you're interested in other ones I've done one on jersey tops, so sort of thinner jersey tops, and I've done one on my jersey dress range. So for cozy tops, I'm talking more kind of sweaters, so not hoodies, but things that are a bit warmer, because I don't know how it is where you are, but in the UK, the weather's still really up and down and it's supposed to be getting cold again next week. So for me, there's always room for another cozy top. So if that interests you, please keep watching. So the first one I'm going to show you, i.e. the one that I like the least of the ones I've made, is this one, and it's the named clothing Telviki sweater, and this one I really wanted to sew because I like the darts. You can see on the line drawing it's got these darts around the neck, and then it's got this high-low hem, and I just thought, oh, it's a bit more unusual, maybe slightly smarter looking than some cozy tops. So I thought it was something that I really wanted to try. So got the pattern, as you can see, and I will put a picture up of the top on Olivia. I don't particularly like wearing it. Oh, that's a spoiler, isn't it? And I'll tell you why in a minute, but I'll put a picture of it up on Olivia. But here's the top. And you can see, if I hold it up to the camera, you can see the darts, which went in okay, and it started on the back as well. So there's the darts, and it now fits okay on the neckline, and I'll talk a bit more about sizing in a minute. But the interesting thing was that it actually wants you to face the inside of, the inside of the neck. And so obviously I followed the pattern instructions and I did that, and couldn't have got it over my head. Unfortunately, I checked before I sewed the facing bit into the sweater, and I've seen vlogs from other people who've had the same problems. I don't think it was anything I did. So in terms of sizing, this goes from, sorry, I'm going to be looking down a bit because I've got things written down so that I remember everything I want to say to you. In terms of sizing, it goes from a 29 1/8 inch bust up to a 51 3/4 inch bust. But at the top end, there's 4 inches of ease on the bust. I made the extra small, although the bust size put me in a size small and the waist and hips put me at a size medium. But I didn't want 5 inches of ease on the bust, which is what it would have been if I'd made the size small. So I made a straight extra small. That might not have been a good idea, as you'll see in a minute. So yeah, the darts went in okay, but actually, and okay, partly I guess it's because of the fabric, although I love the fabric. They don't show up all that well in the fabric, so you it kind of loses some of the effect that I thought it would actually have. I love the fabric. The fabric is the Cozy Colours range, which I think is stocked by quite a lot of places, but I got mine from Sew Me Sunshine, and I will link to them below if they've still got any of those in stock. So the other thing it's meant to have, as I mentioned, is a high-low hem, so you can see on the line drawings and also on the picky. But when I tried it on, I really didn't like the high-low hem on me. So I couldn't obviously grow the front, which is a shame because actually I preferred the length at the back to the length at the front. So what I did was I just basically chopped it off at the high hem from the front. So I hacked it off there, and then I just hemmed it, and I had the slit at the side. Now ideally, once I decided I wanted it all one length, I would have sewn that side seam up altogether and just not bothered with the vent. But I couldn't because I didn't grade out, because I didn't think I needed to grade out, because I thought I was going to have the vent. So that's why I don't like wearing it, because the vent comes up quite high on me. So I can wear it with a top underneath it or something, fine, but I just don't feel particularly comfortable in it. So I would think if I did it again, I would size up so that I could just get rid of the vent altogether. Will I make it again? Probably not. Though the irony is that I do actually wear this a reasonable amount, but I wear it for specific reasons, which is generally if I'm working from home and I've got a meeting online, I'll wear it because it does look quite nice still round the top. The darts don't show up that much, but then you don't spend your time on meetings going, hey, look at my darts, why don't they show up? And it looks perfectly nice and smart and all right with a necklace. So I do wear it because it, as I say, it looks smartish on the top half, but I think you could count the number of times I've worn it outside the house on one hand. So, yeah, so I was a bit disappointed really, and I would regard that as not a fail, but not an entire success either. So that was my first one. I'd be really interested to know if you've made any of the patterns that I'm going to mention as well. So do pop a comment down below if you've made any of these, or you know of any patterns that you think I might want to try. So that's the first one, the Talviki sweater from Named Clothing. I might keep hearing bangs as well as I throw patterns around and drop tops around and stuff. So apologies for that. Right, coming in at number 5 is the Munro turtleneck by Tessuti Patterns, and this is a free pattern, and you'll see I've got it printed out. It's not a great picture, but you can see because it comes in PDF only. It's got a drop shoulder, and then it's got this nice turtleneck here. So it's a free pattern, and it goes in a size banding, so it's got 3 sizes, which overall go from a bust of 81 centimetres to top range of 111 centimetres, so it's not massively size inclusive. It was easy to make. I made the smallest size and it fitted fine, so again I went on my bust measurement, except that the upper arms just around the kind of bicep area are a little bit tight. They don't particularly look it massively, but it feels a bit tight on. So I'll put a picture up of me wearing it again here, and I've got the actual garment here. So that's the back, so you can see. So it's made in a fairly inexpensive, probably polyester jersey from Fabricland in Bristol. So you can see the drop shoulders on it quite nicely, and I like the length of the roll neck, and that all went in really easily. But you can see that the arms are not the widest in the world. So would I make it again? Yes, I might. It's a perfectly good sweater. It's a nice basic sweater pattern. I think if I made it in a nicer fabric, I'd probably wear it more. Also, this to me kind of says Christmas, even though it's not an intentionally Christmassy fabric. To me, it does kind of say Christmas sweater, so that's probably another reason I don't wear it very much. In fact, it took me a while to find a picture of me in it, which didn't have a Santa hat on it, so it kind of gives you the idea. So if I made it again, I'd make the same size, but I'd widen it on the bicep. So yes, I might make it again, but I think there's other patterns that I'd want to try that would be ahead of it in the queue. So that's the Munro turtleneck from Tessuti Patterns. Number 4. So this pattern will be familiar to an awful lot of you, I would imagine, and this is the Freya top by Tilly and the Buttons. So here's my version, you can see, and I made it in a Ponte Roma from Minerva Fabrics, which I think is, because it's quite thick, it's probably a little bit less forgiving size-wise than it would be if it was made in something a little bit thinner. I do quite like it. Yeah, I do quite like it. I don't wear it a huge amount, but we'll come on to that in a second. But you can see just normal round set-in sleeves, and yeah, I do like the fabric. I love the fabric, the kind of slightly snake skin. So, as I said, this comes from the Tilly and the Buttons stretch book, and for once I've been organised and I've actually bookmarked the pages I want to show you. So the good thing about this pattern, and one of the reasons that I've put it a bit higher up in my list, is because it's got a lot of versatility and a lot of options. So you can have it short sleeved, you can have it longer sleeved, and you can also make it as a kind of A-line dress. The version I've just shown you is the only version that I've actually made at the moment. I'll come back to that in a sec. So the measurements on this, the body measurements start at a 30-inch on the bust and go up to 44 inches on the size 8. So because this is in Tilly's book, it hasn't got the extended size range like some of her more recent patterns have, and I know she's gone back to some of her original freestanding patterns and she's extending the size range, but this still only has the sizes 1 to 8 in Tilly speak, if you like. And the finished garment measurements have actually round the bust got negative ease on them, so it's not like it's kind of loose, and you'll get the extra size range that way. So I made a size 3, which was based on a bust measurement of 34 inches, and then I graded out to a size 4 at the waist and hip, so that was 30 inches and 39 inches respectively, finished garment measurements. I think if I made it again, certainly if I made it to fit me at the moment, I would go up to a size 4, maybe graded to a size 5. It's just a little bit snug, but it might depend what the fabric was. The thing I would really like to do though with the Freya is not so much make it again just as a standalone piece like that. What I'd really like to do is take the cowl, which is a hack for it that Tilly's put in her book, take the cowl from this and then graft it onto the Billy pattern by Tilly and the Buttons, which I've seen the French seams do, and I'll pop a link to her vlog where she talks about it down below. But I think I'd really like to do that because I like the shape of the Billy dress on me, and I'm less certain about this A-line shape for the Freya. So I think if I make it again, it's most likely to be the kind of top bit, the cowl bit, rather than the top. But I can see that the pattern, you know, it is versatile. I think quite a few people make it so it can go under things like pinafore dresses and things. So I'm not saying I wouldn't make it again, but I think I'd probably rather have a go at the cowl and do it as a dress. So that is my number 3. So we're now getting into top 3 territory. So we're halfway. So if you're enjoying this content and you like what you see, please could you give me a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. And as I said before, I'd love to know your views about these patterns and whether or not you've made them and how you found them, or indeed what your hero patterns are. I love hearing from you in the comments. I do always try and reply as soon as I can. And thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed and commented so far on my videos. Right, on to number 3. So number 4 of the ones we're going through, but number 3 in terms of my countdown. So this you will recognise as a relatively recent make, and you'll know if you saw my previous video that I've just made it again for my mum. And this is the Waves and Wild hot coffee top. So my version is the unisex version, which was for sale when she was made by Jack's mum. I think now the men's and the women's are split out. So I won't say a huge amount about it because I've talked about it a lot recently. But the sizing goes from a bust of 30 inches to 54 inches, so a bit more size inclusive. I made a medium size based on having a 36-inch bust, and I have a feeling originally I graded to a large on the hip, and I probably didn't need to. So, do I like this? What do I think of it? I love the cowl neck on it. It's super cozy. I love the fabric, which is this cable knit fabric, which you can get from lots of places. I originally bought this at the Knitting and Stitching Show, I think, in London, from Semi Sunshine, but lots of places sell it. But when I tried it on, I'd originally tried to make it as a sweater dress, and it came up huge, and that's why I ended up turning it into a top. So that was a bit frustrating. And the sleeves on it were massively long as well, and I ended up having to shorten it. So I like the versatility of it. It's got choice of necklines, so you've got the cowl and you've got the round neck, and you can make it as a dress, and you can put a kanga pocket in it. So I think it's a really good versatile pattern, and I'll pop a picture of the line drawings in. But I think I'm just really confused about the sizing, so I think I would make it again as a top, and I'd pretty much make it as it is for the top, because I think I've got it sort of big and snuggly and warm, and I like it. I think if I did the dress, I would think about sizing down, and I'd probably measure the pattern pieces and take a bit more time to work out what my size is. But it's a fairly uncomplicated sew, I would say. I'd say it's good for beginners. So yeah, as I say, you've seen me talk about this one quite a lot recently, so I won't talk about it too much. But yes, probably, yeah, it's sitting at number 3 in the list, so you can see it's something, and I do reach for it. So, and I think my mum will as well. So, and I'm glad I made her one because it'll stop her reaching for mine. Okay, so that is number 3. So what's the runner-up? Well, here is the runner-up. The little label which says sewing is my self-care. And this, you might remember if you've been watching my videos for a while, was my entry last year for Jess at So What If I Sews Sew Yellow for Endo 22 challenge, and she's running it again next month, Sew Yellow for Endo 2023. So I'll be doing a video at some point to say what my entry will be, so you'll find out from that nearer the time. But the challenge is to sew something yellow or predominantly yellow, and to become more informed about endometriosis and make a donation to the charity Endometriosis UK. So, having waved this at you, I should tell you, shouldn't I, that this is the Southbank Sweater by Nina Lee, and this is, I've got the pattern here, it's this one. So I started off making the dress, and quite like the dress, did make a couple of moderations to it when I made the top. So again, this is nice and versatile because you've got the dress, and I've made the dress again since I made it just before Christmas. This is the version that I'm showing you now, the kind of longer version of the top. And then you've got this crop top, which I think is also quite versatile. I might make one if I was going to wear it with high-waisted jeans, but I think in reality I'm probably going to end up sewing these two more. But I really like it. It goes from a size 32 inch on the bust up to a 46 inch bust. I made it in the size 10 on the bust, which was based on a 36 inch bust, and then I graded out to a 12 at the waist for a 30 inch waist, and a 14 on the hip, which is 14.5 inch hip. And it's absolutely fine, and I really like it. I had to shorten the sleeves on it because they were too long when I made it on the dress. So I've shortened the sleeves, and I also reduced the height of the neckband a little bit. And I think you'll see, I'll pop the picture in, I think it sits quite nicely. It doesn't feel quite so much like it's right up there as it does on the dress. It's super cozy, I love the fit, and I would definitely make more of these. I'm sure that will happen, both the top and the dress. So that is why the Lee Southbank Sweater is my runner-up. So, what's my number one? Well, those of you who've been watching my channel for a while probably won't be too surprised by this, but it's what I'm wearing, which is the Tilly and the Buttons Nora top. So I've got my printout of the pattern because I own it in PDF, so it's this one. Which is quite ironic because you can make it with a high-low hem, and I said right at the beginning about the Talviki that I really don't like a high-low hem. And in fact, I've never made this with a high-low hem, so I guess I'm nothing if not consistent. But you can see it's a very boxy style. It's got this sort of slight turtleneck on it. And if I show you the line drawings, hold on a tick. There you go. Show you the line drawings. So yeah, you can make it with a high neck, but you can also make it as a boxy short sleeve tee or just as a longer sleeve top, 3/4 length with the high-low hem. So you've got a fair range of hemlines, and you've also got the different necklines. So the interesting thing for this is that the fabric is supposed to be a light to medium weight knit fabric with at least 10 centimetres of crosswise stretch, such as jersey interlock, ponte, sweater knits or stretch velvet. So despite this being my hero top, I've never made it in the recommended fabric, and so far all I've made it out of is fleece, and I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. It is so warm. It's so cozy. It comes in a 30-inch bust to a 44-inch bust. So Tilly, and I checked before I came on and did this video, she hasn't yet expanded the size range on this top as she has with some of the other tops. But on the bust measurement, there is over 10 inches of ease. So it might be that even if you're a little bit bigger than the measurements say, you'll still be able to get in because it's got this boxy nature. The thing with the fleece that you have to watch is the neckline, really, because obviously you've got to be able to get your head through it. But I've made a size 3 and it is absolutely fine on me, even though I put a bit of weight on since I first started making these. So I will pop up some versions that I've made, but you'll see I think I've made 4 for myself. So I've made this one, a leopard print one with unicorns on, which was made for a particular occasion. And then I've made a kind of scrappy version, which is made up of all the remnants that I had from the other versions I've made. And then I've also made 2 for my mum, but they're hacked because she didn't want to have to try and get something over her head. So for her, I've made them with a zip down the middle. So I just basically added in a seam allowance and cut this as 2 separate pieces and put a zip in down the middle. And on the purple one, she wanted pockets because she wants to wear that when she goes out so she can get her keys in it and her phone. But the leopard print one doesn't have pockets because she just prefers to wear it around the house. So for her, I made a size 4 for the one she's wearing around the house, and then I made a size 5 for the one that she wears outside so that she can get sweaters and things underneath it. And she really likes them as well. So it is my absolute hero cozy top. So it's number 1 in my list. So I hope you enjoyed this. As I say, will link to my other kind of countdowns of tops and dresses down below. Do let me know if you've made any of these. And to another point, I might come back and talk to you about cosy sweaters that I would like to make, or who knows, if I make some in the imminent future, I'll come back and see if my countdown has changed. Just in terms of life in general, I have been doing a little bit of sewing, but I managed to get an absolute humdinger of a cold or something last week. So I was just about still working. I was working from home, so I didn't give anybody anything. But at one point I lost my voice and I just wasn't well enough to film last weekend, and I also wasn't so well that I felt like sewing too much. I did do a bit, but I kept getting really tired, and because I am sewing my bird jacket for my collaboration with Jess, and I just got to the welt pockets, I didn't want to sew when I didn't feel up to it and risk messing them up. But I am now halfway through those pockets, and they, lots of wood touching going on, are looking okay. So hopefully I'll be able to bring you up to speed on that fairly soon. I'm also going to do the sewing room video that I've been promising you for a while, and the other things that will be coming up in early March, because I'm going to do these whether or not I finish sewing through the things I've got cut out, which is what I said I'd concentrate on. I am going to do a make for Sew Yellow for Endo, as I mentioned, and I'm also I've also signed up to be on the vlogger tour for Sam Frugalissima and Ruan, the Yorkshire Sew Girls, Sew Frugal 2023. So I've signed up this time to be on the official vlogger tour. So I'll be coming to you hopefully in early March with my thoughts around what you might make. So if you haven't heard of that before, it's a challenge to make something out of your existing stash fabric or other fabric that you might have around the house, like an old tablecloth or a quilt cover, or an existing garment that you might want to refashion, and to make a garment from a pattern which is free. So not something that you've already got in your stash in terms of patterns. You could draft your own pattern, or you could use a free pattern, and there will be a vlogger tour of lots and lots of lovely vloggers coming on during March to give you their suggestions and their ideas for things that they might make in terms of free patterns to provide some inspiration. So that will be coming your way very soon. So thank you so much for watching. As I said, if you'd like what you've seen today, please do consider giving this video a like, drop me a comment in the comments box, and please consider subscribing, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.